Hi loving souls, Remy here. On your healing journey, have you come across one of the myriad of toxic relationship recovery groups on Facebook? Whether you are in a toxic relationship and looking for advice on how to deal with an abusive partner or narcissist, or if you are in the healing and recalibration phase after a breakup, you very well might have stumbled across one. As a relationship therapist and coach, I do dip into these groups every now and then to offer advice, and some of my clients have even been members of these groups. And I've noticed some really concerning evidence that they're actually doing more harm than good. It's so important to get the right help and support when you're in, leaving, or recovering from a toxic relationship, not to mention the support you need to actually do the work to overcome toxic relationship patterns altogether. But are Facebook groups the way to go? Well, I've got some insights you're really going to want to hear, so let's get to it. Not sure where to even begin when it comes to finding a healthy, loving partner? Maybe a part of you thinks it's easier to just be single and avoid the anxiety and stress of a relationship altogether, but yet another part still dreams of having a gorgeous partner to dance through life with. If you want to attract a loving partner who is aligned with the best version of you and have the confidence to be that best version of you, then the universe has brought us together here now for a reason. Let's unlock your power to attract everything you truly deserve. Hi, I'm Remy, clinical hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, EFT facilitator, certified life and success coach, and your dedicated love upgrade coach. I went from being a people-pleasing, codependent, anxious serial dater and marrier of the wrong men to being happily married with the warm, loving family and life I always dreamed of. It wasn't luck that got me here though. It was doing important internal work, and I'm here now to share everything I know with you so you can get what you want most too. It's time to update your entire mind, plug in and switch on your spiritual connection and start some real life magic happening. This is your time to put beautiful you first for a change. The outside world can wait, so hush those notifications and let's get down to some important work. So, it's no secret that talking and airing your issues and feelings and everything that you've been through is really important, but we need to be selective who we are talking to and who we are seeking advice from. Often we go to, I think, probably three people. The first one is family, which can be really tricky because of the family dynamics involved. Usually we've learned all the toxic traits we have and all about relationship dynamics from our parents and close family. So getting sound, helpful advice from them is literally almost impossible, because it's like the blind leading the blind. Not only that, but you might have found that trying to change the status quo actually triggers family members. They're not going to like change. And if they're in a similar relationship dynamic to the one that you are trying to overcome, or if you hold a belief that's contrary to their belief, well, it can cause significant emotional responses from family. So if this rings a bell, please know that you are not in the wrong. It's just that change can spark really big feelings in adults, yes, even adults, who aren't consciously aware of their auto-programming in an area, which, to be real, is most people. And most of them are very set in their ways. For an example, if you have an older lady in your family, whether it's your mother or your grandmother or an aunt or anyone who's put up with her selfish husband and a crappy marriage for years, they might not be that supportive of you, somebody expressing a desire to have a husband who does their fair equal share of housework or child rearing, or have some sort of change in the dynamic of the relationship that's more appealing to a woman. Basically, if you're looking for better, it can really trigger them. And listen, the unknown is also really scary for parents and people who love us, right? So, and they want us to be safe. Crazily enough, even if we're super duper unhappy and they know that we're unhappy, most of the time that leads to some sort of advice that is something along the lines of you sticking with the devil you know, or them trying to manage your expectations, at least by telling you that you're being too picky, right? Does that ring a bell? All right, so the other people that we usually turn to are friends, our chosen family. And as we get older, as you know, friends tend to, a lot of people get married, they have children, they've got busy jobs going on. People just get busy and they might be too busy to listen. And even if they are good listeners, their advice might not serve us because most of us have our own toxic patterns going on, including your friends. So the advice they're giving you isn't clean. And even if they're really trying to help you and they love you and they want to see you be happy, nevertheless, it's going to be within the limitations of their own experience and their current situation and their beliefs and their own agenda too. And also the external limits of the upper limits of their knowledge. So it's not necessarily accurate advice from friends either. The other person you might try and talk to is a professional. And usually when I say that, it comes to mind straight away about seeing a psychologist or a talk-based therapist. And sometimes that's not the right person for you either. Here in Australia, you generally need to go via a GP, which means that they will put you on a mental health care plan, which sounds ludicrous, right? And this is not a mental health issue. And furthermore, it's beyond what most standard talk-based therapies can actually offer you help for. Talking, as I said before, can be helpful to a degree, but what you actually need is support, guidance, and coaching, really, to evolve, which means resolving auto-programming that is no longer serving you, freeing yourself from trauma and heartbreak, and becoming more consciously aware of your beliefs, feelings, thoughts, and behaviours, as well as support with your awareness that you are no longer willing to accept what you have been willing to accept before. In other words, how to safely and confidently move forward now that your standards are improving. Okay, so what does that leave us with? Usually something like social media. It's really tempting to turn to social media for answers. And lo and behold, you type in toxic relationships or narcissists or recovering from heartbreak or anything like that, and you will stumble across loads of groups specializing in toxic relationship and narcissist recovery. And some of them have 40,000 members, 120,000 members, loads of members, right? And it's completely understandable at this moment of your life when you're feeling really vulnerable and unseen and unsupported, that you suddenly think, wow, I'm finally seen, heard, validated, and can speak freely about this awful chapter of my life. There's people here sitting and ready and willing to talk about it and listen. And I found my home, right? And then you sit down, you start reading, and you hear all their awful stories about all the nutters they've been dating and all the assholes that have broken their heart over and over again. And you probably also find yourself judging some of them because people end up doing really strange behaviors and going back over and over again, right? And to be fair, I think I've been there too. So, it's easy to judge, but I guess we've all been there. But you start feeling more and more horrified, even if you're feeling validated. And then it becomes a very slippery slope for a few reasons. All right, so let's look at why spending too much time in these unmoderated online communities can actually do more harm than good. Here are 4 watch-outs why you should use these groups with caution, followed by 4 tried and tested tips to navigate your own healing in a much more effective way that will honestly serve you and your highest and best wishes for your life in just such a better way. Now, I'm just going to start by saying that, as you may or may not know, my own journey through and out of toxic relationship patterns has led me to become a love upgrade coach. Forgive the cutesy title. I just honestly couldn't think of anything more appropriate to call myself. It's literally what I do. And I've trained with the world's best in a variety of modalities that have proven to be everything needed to overcome the underpinning beliefs that lead us to perpetuate these crappy relationship patterns that are just making us feel awful. as well as heal from relationship trauma and rebuild a solid sense of self. But when I was in the thick of it, I could have really done with a loving, supportive community for so many reasons. Number one, to get all my jumbled looping thoughts and feelings out of my head. Sometimes it's so good, all the time actually, to just get it down, ideally in a safe place, but just getting out those thoughts and feelings so they can sort of unravel themselves. And also, it was important, I needed someone to keep me accountable for not caving in and going back to toxic partners, or listening to urges of really unhelpful behaviour that I really didn't want to be doing on some level. And then number three, it would have been great to have some support navigating dating, because sometimes that can feel a little bit overwhelming. And number four, I would have loved someone to boost me up when I felt down on my self-confidence, And number five, I would have really benefited from someone to help me reframe my worries and anxieties. Because although in one moment, I don't know if you've been through this as well, I think we all do, we feel really sure of ourselves and we can see everything so clearly, crystal clear. And then I think when it comes, we might get a bit tired, and then we might be a bit hormonal. A million things could happen. And then all of a sudden you forget how fabulous you are, and you forget the truth about situations. And then all of a sudden you go back to making them mean things that they really don't mean, making them mean something awful about you. And that's just so not helpful. And sometimes, you know what it's like, you pick up the phone to a friend and you tell them, and then in 2 seconds flat, they've reminded you again that all that is a load of nonsense. It's just your fearful ego talking utter crap, right? And then we remember, oh yes, that's right, I can just let all that go and just carry on feeling good and enjoying my best life, right? So for all those reasons, I would have absolutely loved a helpful community back when I was, going through this recalibration phase from my ex. So I do think that it's amazing that these things now exist, because back then they didn't really. And if they did, it was just full of strange foreign exchange adverts and like strange services that we really didn't need in our life. So it's amazing now that we have the platforms available to do this, but if it's done in the wrong way, well, what are the effects? And what do I mean by the wrong way? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and answer this in 4 parts. So number one, the advice people are giving in these groups is mostly toxic in and of itself, right? So you're adding on another layer of toxicity to this whole relationship scenario, okay? You've got angry, unsuccessful people using your post to justify their own bitterness at their situation, okay? When I say unsuccessful people, I mean in the sense of they have not come through it the other side. They are not living the life that you wish to live, right? They haven't resolved the situation. They're just swimming in a pool of anger and bitterness and disappointment and sadness, which is not something that you want to be absorbing or wallowing in, right? And it's not expert advice. As I said, they're going through what you're going through, and they might have been going through it much worse than you. You have no idea what their mental state is, what they're going through. And a lot of the time, they really want to inflame situations because they're feeling really angry at their ex. And some of the things they write is going to leave you feeling even more angry, which is really going to do a disservice to yourself, because anger does not help us at all. And it's not going to give you any sort of useful support or healing, rather than perpetuate your negative feelings, which you really don't need. Number 2, you must be mindful of who you are surrounding yourself with. Now, your circle of influence is very important, right? For all of us. It shapes who you are, your beliefs, and the quality of your life. You are literally the average of the people you surround yourself with. So it's really important to be mindful of who is hanging out in these groups the most. Let's really think about it. Can you even know who these people are or what their agenda is? Not really. And let's be real, who is spending their time sitting on a device or computer, taking the time, and it takes a lot of time, to read all the new posts and comment on them? Unless you're a therapist like me, right? Helping people out of love. Is it really holistically successful, happy people enjoying their life that are doing this? as we said before, it's not. Unless they're a legitimate professional in the relationship field, which really most of them aren't, then probably not. I've observed, honestly, a staggering number of people with the most awful closed mindset, and they get angry at me for offering help. They see it as an absolute affront that it's possible to get out of toxic relationship patterns and and getting over a narcissist or getting over a broken heart. They absolutely will fight for their suffering, and they're not able or willing to admit that they have the power to change. And there's a myriad of reasons why they might do that, and love and light to them, but it's absolutely fascinating and 100% not what you need, right? So are these people a level of expertise and emotional soundness that you would really want to take advice and learn from? The overwhelming majority are not, honestly. You deserve to have a circle of influence that is going to elevate you. So you really owe it to your higher self to be very picky. Joining 40,000 randoms in a largely unsupervised Facebook group ain't it, love, I promise. All right, number 3, your only option for healing in these groups is airing your grievances without any resolution, and it leaves you stuck percolating in the problem. Right, so we've said it's really important to get out your experience. So what do? You go in this group, you write down everything you've gone through, you type it out, and you feel momentarily better that you've got it out of your system, right? And don't get me wrong, it is really important to voice your experiences. It's how we become, really aware of of our thoughts and our feelings, bringing so many things to our conscious awareness and, reordering them and giving some sort of order to the way we're feeling, right? And it sort of helps us to make sense of them when we get it out. That's why journaling can be so helpful, It's literally getting all the crap out of your head and sort of purging yourself. A problem shared is definitely a problem halved, but just sharing your trauma and the wrongdoings you've endured and how you wish you could move on and how you feel about it all, etc. Well, most of the time it's not enough to help you resolve and move past it, right? Just sharing in a post is going to air your problems out for sure, but it's not going to help you move past anger and reach this wonderful place of delightful indifference about your ex, right? Where you can just move on with ease. And it's not going to help you to let go of that anger. And it's not going to help you let go of the meanings and beliefs, most likely, that the relationship led you to feel about yourself, your self-esteem and self-confidence. It's probably taken a big hit because you've taken to heart some of what they said and did to you and made it mean something about your value and worth, when really it was everything to do with your ex's emotional instability and nothing to do with your worth or value. And further, you might have not quite dealt with the reasons you attracted and accepted that toxic relationship into your life in the first place. These underpinning beliefs you had about yourself and what's possible for you that led to you allowing this for yourself. To deal with all these elements, which is so important to do, it takes deep diving into your subconscious auto-programming and rewiring your neural pathways so you literally change your mind and start believing, feeling, thinking and behaving differently. I know this because I help clients every day with overcoming their toxic relationship patterns. Together we rebuild their self-trust and confidence to be their authentic self and heal from the trauma and heartbreak from their ex-relationships. I see the difference it makes, how the joy and sparkle in these women's eyes returns when the tattered veil they've been wearing over their eyes gets lifted and they suddenly remember the powerful, capable forces of nature they truly are, just like you. It's an absolute blessing to watch this transformation, but it takes a lot more than just writing out a story. Okay, so number 4, as good old gorgeous Tony Robbins has said, am I allowed to think he's gorgeous? I think he's gorgeous. I love his voice. Anyway, where focus flows, energy goes. He is absolutely right, of course. The nature of our reality is that our brains are hardwired to seek out more of what we set our focus on. So in these groups, as I said before, we are literally swimming in people's horrific stories and despair about their emotionally retarded partners and all the hurt and pain they're going through and the anger. You can almost touch it in these groups, seriously. These toxic exes who plague their life. It's literally despair soup in these groups, seriously. And very quickly, it's very easy to think that this is it. And we develop this, oh shit, they're everywhere, panicky mindset, right? And we go about our lives with this unconscious filter in place, this focus on looking for evidence that there is a world of nothing but narcissists and abusive partners out there. And when we think that way, well, we absolutely find them. We spot them. Because he's right, where focus flows, energy goes. And then we will live our life with the expectation that either this is all that's available out there, 4 billion narcissistic men and 4 billion despairing women, and that's it. Or if there is some sort of weird outlier, some 1 in a zillion guy in the same place as us who is handsome and emotionally sound, it seems like such an impossible, scarce rarity that we would be like, okay, would he even ever be interested in little old me? Absolutely not. Be real, as if, right? It just seems like trying to find a minuscule diamond in an absolute enormous haystack, right? Really, really hard basket. And if you want to test how we are wired for this, you can go ahead and try it. Picture a colour in your mind's eye. Really tune into this colour. And now tell your subconscious to keep an eye out for everything of that same colour that's around you. And then open your eyes and look around and just see how your unconscious has got this amazing ability to pick up instantly on what we tell it to look for. Do you see how it did that? It's our reticular activation systems at play. We're literally wired that way to do that. And it works with everything, not just colour. And if you're having a bad day, watch how you lose your keys or trip over, and then you'll remember all the bad crap that's happened, and then you'll get in this low, funky vibe, right, where things spiral downwards. Just like if you're blissed out in a magic zone on holiday, just watch how everything seems to sway and just in the right way in your favour. It's the law of our reality. We literally get back what we are, okay? So if we're living in this amazing vibration of knowing that what we want is coming to us, then that's exactly what happens. If we live our life focusing on what we don't want, well, this is what we get too. What we believe is what we shall receive. So this is the power that these negative messages have. If you believe that there are only dickheads out there, then you will be proven right. And if you believe that there are an abundance of emotionally sound, attractive, kind partners out there, and not only that, but that you deserve them too, and that they would actually want you in their life, then yes, you will be proven right too. By the way, as a side note, did you notice how that statement made you feel? Did it sound like nonsense? Was there some part of you telling you that that is actually not even possible? Because if it did, that is so interesting, because that is how ingrained your beliefs are and how strong your fearful ego is, right? And how it's literally sitting very firmly in the driver's seat telling you what is and isn't possible, which is something to pick up on. Actually, this whole point was actually one of the main drivers of why I rebranded the podcast from breaking toxic relationship patterns to what it is now known as Her Love Upgrade. It was the focus on the negative bias. I really didn't want to do that because it's something we are just so intrinsically hardwired to do as humans as part of our inbuilt primal safety system. We are so much more aware of the negatives in life. It's all for a very important reason. It literally kept our species alive. We were much more aware of danger. And not only that, we're able to remember where the danger was. So we have a better recall for danger than we do positivity, which is why it's so easy to just fall back into thinking negative patterns about ourselves and about the world. Because essentially what that does is keep us rooted in the familiar so that we don't change. We just want to stay safe and inside, eating cake and watching Netflix, right? When really, our true self wants something much more fabulous than that. Our brain wants to stay safe and alive, and then our true self wants to shine and fly, right? And we just need to always keep a good, solid check on our fearful ego mind, our hardwired primal brain. And when we start to hear these words of fear and nonsense about what's not possible for us, we need to just remind it to just get out the bloody driver's seat and sit in the passenger seat where it belongs, because our true self knows better. And when we follow it and we take these leaps of faith grounded in our truth and our honest joys and curiosities, and listen to how we really feel about things, then we take appropriate action on that, then that is where the beautiful bounty of our life lies. And along with this, the universe comes and meets us like 90% of the way as well. When we take this amazing inspired action, somehow mountains move to support our highest and best life. So this is why I wanted to focus on the fact that this is about a love upgrade that is totally possible for all of us, going from a crappy love life and relationship outlook that doesn't feel good and moving into something that is just so much better and so much easier on so many levels, right? This paradigm shift that's been missing. So while this podcast is still all about breaking toxic relationship patterns, the underlying message is that this is a love upgrade that's going on here, right? So it's this focus on the positive rather than the focus on the negative, focusing on what we do want versus what we don't want. That slight tweak has massive implications in our life. We really want to make sure every day that we're staying so focused on what we do want, right? Not what we don't want. It's like if you tell a toddler to stop jumping on a bed, all their brain can hear is jumping on the bed. But if you tell them, come down here, let's play a game instead, that has just a completely different, most of the time, effect on them, and they will, come down off the bed and actually listen to you. So it's this making sure that we're living with a positive frame in our minds of what we do want, rather than always reminding ourselves what we don't want. It's really important. And actually, when it comes to relationships, a really good example of focusing what you really don't want are these, and I haven't mentioned it to now, but my least, I think, favorite corner of the internet. Oh my God. These groups that are cis, is that your man? Or is this your man, cis? Or any of those groups. Oh my God. There are literally hundreds of these localized groups with hundreds and thousands of members. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by all means, take a quick peek. But then, for goodness sake, oh my God, please leave the group. Do not hang around. What these groups are women taking photos of men in public places so other women can check if it's their man cheating on them. Guys, this is such a toxic habit. Don't do it. Your feed, oh my God, will be filled with women devastated that their man is cheating on them, and you will start to believe that every man is a cheating rat bag. And honestly, it's not truth. It's algorithms. That's it. Algorithms are so powerful. They're powerful enough to make grown adults believe that the world is flat. Don't underestimate the power of thinking critically to protect your focus. Really, set your focus on the truth that serves you, not other people's messes, right? Again, it feeds our fearful ego, and it just feeds the story that it's trying to tell us about playing it safe, building up these walls, interacting with no one, not even entering into a relationship because every single guy or girl is a dickhead, right? And it's just not truth, okay? Listen, when you update your belief system by undoing the incorrect, irrelevant meanings that you've given your childhood experiences, and you know how to spot red flags, and you feel confident holding boundaries, and have raised your standards, and you understand what a healthy relationship is and how to operate in one, and you truly believe that you deserve one, then you won't ever have to worry about whether your partner is cheating on you. Please trust me on this. You would have spotted the red flags and let them go on their merry way long before that happened, because you would have expertly spotted that they are emotionally unavailable and therefore not for you. And you would have lovingly asked them to move out the way so that you had space for people who deserve you and people who are aligned with your highest and best wishes for your life. You would have increased your standards. You wouldn't have let anyone in who had violated so many of the important 5 root factors that I bang on about all the time. So, if you are in a place where you want to get to the bottom of your toxic relationship cycles and heal from them and feel really heard, validated and supported, I'm going to give you my recommendations of what to do instead of going to one of these groups that can really be quite damaging. Number 1, and this is going to make you yawn, but exercise. Not sorry. But listen, if you're feeling stuck in a crappy state and your fearful ego is taken over and you're absolutely hating on yourself and you're feeling like there's absolutely no way out of this shitbox that you're in, trust me, there is no better way to instantly improve your state than to get some endorphins going. And exercise is the way. Ideally, if you can, go to somewhere beautiful in nature and move out there. One of my favourite and also weirdly least favourite ways to clear my mind is to go running on soft sand at the beach. It is so beautiful and there's something so awe-inspiring about, the vastness of the ocean in front of you. It kind of puts everything back into perspective again and just, clears the cobwebs out my brain. But even if that's not possible, just as fabulous is anything, pumping weights. If you enjoy that and HIIT workouts, I cannot recommend Coach Kozak and his wife Claudia on HasFit enough. I adore them. There ain't no shame in your plank game. They're the cutest couple ever, and their workout videos are fantastic. Really, really love them. And Ben Bruno, he's fabulous. He's got a very well-priced strength training course. And of course, there's other wonderful things like flow yoga. It's like a vinyasa yoga or something like that. Even Kundalini yoga is amazing. Pilates, swimming. These are my favorites, but whichever exercise brings you joy, go do it. Don't think, just do it. I think thinking is the absolute antithesis of exercise. So just go put your trainers on and just start walking outside at the very least to clear your brain. And I guarantee you, after 20 minutes of listening to something fabulous, like a really uplifting podcast or some fabulous music, you'll just feel so much better and your mind will be so much clearer. And of course, it's super healthy. And I know everyone says it, but we still don't all do it all the time. So it's really important to keep saying it, right? Number 2, rest. Not necessarily sleep, but your favorite healthy, positive, restful, nourishing activity, whether that's playing a game or reading a book or writing or being creative somehow. And do you know what? If the word rest makes you feel anxious just in and of itself, then another way of resting is trying to engage the sense of touch to help you relax. Like, go get a massage, get a facial, have a pedicure. Sometimes the healing touch of a therapist really is the key to releasing tension we don't even know we're carrying. And the mind-body connection is so real. I don't think I've ever not felt better after going to have a really good massage or any one of those things, And also, I think it really tells your inner goddess that you are loving on them. And it just makes you feel like you are valuing yourself, which you are, by treating yourself to some wonderful treatment, Now, the third thing, and the third way to feel better is to get it out your head, as we were saying before. So by all means, vent your problem in a random toxic relationship support group. That's fine. Get all of it out. But remember to read the comments with a pinch of salt and then exit the group without hanging around and reading everyone else's shit as well, okay? Even better, you can join the Her Love Upgrade Facebook group, which is free and regulated by me, where you can safely post your story and have me respond with sound, loving advice and support. The easiest way to find it is to go to www.herloveupgrade.com/community, and that should link you straight to the Facebook page where you can just request to join. It would be an absolute honour to see you there. The other alternative, of course, is to scribble it all down in a notebook. I do a morning pages notebook when I remember it. I definitely don't do it every morning, but it's a lovely way of just purging your mind and just getting everything out of your brain, no matter what it's to do with, and just getting it out. And it's amazing how that unblocks the brain and usually comes to some sort of helpful, action-oriented, resolution process that your brain amazingly concocts and thinks up. And even if it doesn't, it can just clear the mind and just get everything out so that you don't have this mass of a emotional, confusing, looping knot in your head. Just get it all out. Another way of doing it actually is you can either type it all out on your computer or record a voice memo where you just do a verbal vomit to purge your mind of it all. And that can be really helpful too. Even if you don't send it to anybody, you can just record it and then release it into the ether, right? Or you can send it to somebody, of course. One of the offers that I have in my coaching programs is a container where clients get 6 sessions with me to help them with their love block transformation. And in that package, they're able to leave me a WhatsApp message anytime they want, just a voicemail or a text message, get everything out their head that they're feeling. And then I come back to them within 24 hours and give them loving, solid advice and support. They find it really helpful. I've had really good feedback about it, and I think it's a really important part of people's healing process. So my 4th recommendation is to get advice and support from a qualified, appropriate professional. So whether you decide to read a book, watch a video, or undertake one-on-one support and coaching and therapy, make sure you resonate with their messaging first. You want someone who will hold your space for you in the positive, higher place that is there waiting for you until you are able to stand in it yourself. You're really looking for somebody who offers more than just counselling or listening. You want to make sure that they have the skills necessary to help you really achieve deep, authentic healing and growth from your experience. Okay, so let's summarise this episode. When it comes to Facebook toxic relationship recovery groups, bear these 4 things in mind. Number 1, the advice you receive is mostly toxic in and of itself. Number 2, be mindful of who you are surrounding yourself within these groups. Number 3, your only option for healing in these groups is airing your grievances without any resolution, and it actually leaves you stuck percolating in the problem, which is a big problem in and of itself. And my point number 4 is where focus goes, energy flows, and we want to make sure that we are focusing on the positive, so we're bringing more of that into our life. And now, as for my 4 tips to facilitate your healing and growth in a much better, more helpful way. Number 1, get some exercise to really quickly change your state. Number 2 is to make sure that you're getting enough rest, whether that's actual sleep or if it's a nourishing activity that's going to fill your cup. Number 3 is to get everything out of your head, everything you're feeling and thinking and believing, get it all out down on paper. Let's undo that knot of looping rubbish that's going around blocking you every day from the good energy and thoughts you really want and deserve. And number 4, get advice and support from the right professional to help you on your healing and growth journey. I hope you've enjoyed listening to today's episode. I hope it brings you closer to the love and life you're meant for. If you know of anyone who you think might need to hear the words in this episode, please go ahead and share it with them. That would be wonderful. Let's spread the word of what's available for people, helping women to really all undertake a love upgrade so we can all step into the life and love we truly deserve. Sending you so much love. Until next time. You should be so proud of this courageous, incredible journey you are on, and I'm so happy to be here supporting you to say goodbye to toxic relationships and claim the wonderful life and love you truly deserve. If you have a friend who you think needs to hear today's episode too, why not spread the love and share it with them? Sending you so much love in abundance. Until next time.